Close your eyes and visualize the first person you think of when you hear the word crush. Yeah, that person. The one that makes your world stop when your eyes meet, your heart race, and the butterflies in your stomach go into a wild frenzy. This might sound dramatic, but we can all agree that there's this exciting yet strange and sometimes anxiety-inducing feeling of euphoria that comes over us when we're developing feelings for another person. That's the essence of a crush after all. But what about when we can't explain why we're so drawn to someone, especially someone we know is wrong for us? In that case, it's critical to ask ourselves, what does this person bring out in me? To put it bluntly, sometimes the answer to that question is trauma, and we're not always aware of it. Today, we're exploring how trauma can influence who we're attracted to and what it says about us. Remember, our goal at Psych2Go is to inspire, educate, and empower others through the lens of psychology and mental health education. Now, without further ado, let's begin. The shadow. I think most of us have had moments of self-reflection where we ponder, why am I always attracted to the same type of person? Or even, do I have bad taste in men or women? You don't have to answer that. Anyways, the patterns you identify in your sexual and dating preferences are almost like little echoes from your psyche about past experiences, including close relationships and, in some cases, past traumas. Sometimes, people aren't even aware of the patterns in their dating life, and it's all driven by the unconscious mind. Who we have a crush on is obviously dictated by attraction, but sometimes the reasons why are buried under our shadow self, a theoretical concept created by psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychology, Carl Jung. For those not familiar with Jungian psychology, the shadow self refers to the hidden and unconscious aspects of ourselves that we deny and reject, such as repressed desires, habits, personality traits, and impulses, which often form during childhood. So how does our shadow influence who we're attracted to, or in this case, who we develop a crush on? One perfect example is Joe Goldberg's character from the hit series, You. In a nutshell, Joe is a charming, lustful, and romantic serial killer with a penchant for love bombing, seemingly always in search of the woman who can finally fix him. In reality, Joe is seeking the kind of unconditional maternal love he never received as a child. It explains why Joe often idealizes the women he's attracted to by projecting a fantasy of the perfect, loving, nurturing, and redeeming woman. Everything his neglectful mother was not. Joe's love interests are also reflective of the idealized version of himself, the person he truly wants to be, which is a morally right and protective man, worthy of love and affection, which is, of course, always in conflict with his shadow, the murderous, narcissistic aspect of himself. Joe never acknowledges this and doesn't seem aware that his dating preferences exhibit a pattern, but the audience definitely picks up on this. Similar to how a person can often have an easier time identifying patterns in other people's lives, but fail to see their own. Taking the time to reflect on the type of people we're attracted to allows us to understand ourselves better. Confronting rather than avoiding the difficult aspects of ourselves can help us discover what's hiding within our shadow, as well as the traumas that could be influencing who we're attracted to and why we keep repeating the same patterns in our dating lives. Similarity attraction effect. Most of us have experienced an intense crush at least once in our lives that feels like being hit by a ton of bricks. Exhilarating, but also puzzling. You might find yourself wondering, why this person? The truth is, it's often not as random as it seems. Like we mentioned earlier, attraction can be shaped by unconscious forces, including the tendency to be drawn to people who reflect aspects of ourselves. The similarity attraction effect and trauma, while not mutually exclusive, can intersect and influence our dating preferences. Charles Chu, an assistant professor at Boston University, conducted an insightful study published by the American Psychological Association, also known to most psychology students as the APA, which aimed to test and analyze the conditions and factors that influence whom we are attracted to or turned off by. Participants in the case study were presented with a fictional person named Jamie, who held either similar or differing views and opinions on multiple topics. After asking participants to express their views on one of 5 specific topics, such as abortion, capital punishment, gun ownership, animal testing, and physician-assisted suicide, they were then asked how they felt about Jamie, who either agreed or disagreed with them on one of 5 topics mentioned above. Professor Cheong found that the more a participant believed their opinions on these topics were shaped by a personal, essential core, the more they felt connected to Jamie, the pretend character, who shared their views on one of the topics. In psychology, this concept is referred to as self-essentialist reasoning, which is when a person believes they have an underlying core identity or essence that shapes who they are. Professor Cheong explains, our attraction to people who share our attributes is aided by the belief that those shared attributes are driven by something deep within us, one's essence. Of course, there's nothing inherently wrong with being attracted to someone who shares similar values and interests. However, this attraction can become unhealthy when it leads us, often unconsciously, to gravitate towards people whose experiences, beliefs, or behaviors mirror unresolved trauma, or who remind us of people who once harmed us, such as a parent or sibling, which can lead us to recreate unhealthy dynamics. A crush is never just a crush. There's always a deeper reason why we're attracted to someone. So pay attention to that feeling and ask yourself, why? Doing so is the right step towards self-discovery and growth. So what do you guys think? We'd love to hear your thoughts, opinions, and experiences in the comment section. As always, have a wonderful day, and please take care of yourselves.